Congratulations on your win.
Thank you so much.
That was amazing. Yeah, we're taping.
Oh, you're taping.
This is really happening.
This is really happening?
Yeah.
We're taping now? Okay. I'm Mike. This is Lisa.
Hi, Mike.
And
hey, Slow.
we're Tequila Aficionado, and as Lisa said, congratulations to both of you. The packaging was superb, and of course, 512. See, I remember 512 when it was that.
The old agave, the old
logo, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna ask you first of all, and because Scott and I haven't had a chance to actually ever communicate other than maybe an occasional email. How did you start in the tequila business, and why? Because I always want to find out what it is that drove you to,
Whatever possessed you.
Yeah, why, man? How come?
Yeah, so I'll give you the somewhat short version, but I moved to Austin almost 4 years ago, and I wanted to be in the music business. And after kind of some failed attempts in the business side, not the musician side of it. But after waking up one day and finding myself the door guy at a live music venue at night and doing websites for bands during the day, I realized that I couldn't handle 3 hours of sleep, so I got a real job. And I would say maybe a year or two into that, I just realized I didn't come to Austin to be in a cubicle and have live that life. So I read an article about Tito's vodka. And yeah, and this was probably 10 years ago. And I got inspired to get
when it was really handmade, you mean?
Yes, I will refrain from commenting on anything.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So, I read the article and I got inspired, and I started talking to people in the business. And what they were telling me was, if you're going to do it, do something that you're passionate about, something that you drink. So first off, people will notice if you're not passionate about it. They'll see through that. And second, you'll have a lot of it if it fails to drink on your own. So I decided on tequila. That's what I drank and what I was passionate about. And so I went full steam ahead, and I really had to learn everything. I wasn't from the business. So I had to learn the business, the history of tequila and everything from soup to nuts on my own, from regulations to production, everything. So I spent 6 years learning it and going to Mexico and researching everything I could from books and websites and everything I could to really learn it from the ground up. And then 10 years ago, 6 years ago, I found La Cofradía. I met Luis, the master distiller there, and we worked on producing what would eventually become Tequila 512. And then, 6 years, so 10 years in the work, 6 years after meeting La Cofradía, and I finally had a product on the shelf in 2012, so 4 years ago.
Wow. So this was a long-term commitment on your part.
I was young when I started.
Oh, well, that's good. The thing with tequila is there's a saying when you go to tequila once, you'll always come back, and that's the town itself. And I'm sure it must have changed your life when you finally walked out among agave or smelled your first tank of fermenting tequila, or I know it changed my life years and years ago.
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah, I mean, you go down there, you go down there, and you fall in love with the town and everything about it.
Weren't you just there?
I'm going down on Tuesday. Yeah.
Are you going to any plans for anything like an extra añejo or anything like that?
That comes up a lot. We talk about that a lot. I don't know. I mean, we just launched the añejo, obviously, and the Blanco was all I had for so long, and people would say, "Well, why don't you have all three?" And I'm like, "How do you handle more than one?" To me, that's a different product. It's a different sell. It's a different consumer. And I didn't really think I was ready. So we did the Reposado when I thought I was ready, which was a couple years in. And then the añejo, 3.5, almost 4 years in before that came out, because I wasn't ready for it. So the extra maybe. I've got some sitting now that we may leave. We may leave a couple barrels back and just kind of see what happens and see what develops in those barrels. No definite plans yet. I have a label in mind that I'll have Marty help me on if we do it. But other than that, no solid plans yet.
Wow.
So I've been watching 512 for a long time. Like I said, since it was like this. And in fact, this probably came from you when you sent this out to me. I guess
it was in
California at the time.
Yeah, just me all alone.
That was just you. Now, it seems like, as you said, you're ready now, and there's a lot of things going on. I'm looking at the original press release here from the folks at Penn and Telis, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
And there were so many things that happened almost consecutively. You know, first you had a chance to bring Chris Kane into your environment, and Chris comes from another Austin tequila that shall remain nameless at this point.
Good tequila stock.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's good tequila stock, but he had a real hand in forging that brand, especially being based in Austin as well. So then the packaging happened, and almost simultaneously the añejo. How did you guys meet up? And then I want to know what the process is of rebranding a label. You know, how does that happen with guys like the Butler brothers, whom up until this point I'd never heard of them, but of course,
don't say that.
Well, I've only been in Texas 3 years, so it's not like, Austin seems to be a real creative city. There's a lot of creativity going on there, all kinds, but you don't hear a lot about artistically and design. You hear more about the tech part of it, or the music part of it. So how did this collaboration happen?
Well, I'll tell you how it came from my perspective, and I'll let Marty give his piece on their process. But it really started with the award, the Double Gold in San Francisco. That piqued interest in a lot of people, as you can imagine, and gave a lot of legitimacy to the brand. When that started, it started the process of, hey, maybe we should raise some money and try to really do this thing and not do it on my own with a full-time job. So it was kind of started raising money. While the money was being raised, we said, well, do we need to do something with the packaging? That process started. And when that started, I started talking to brands or local and settled on an Austin firm that one of the key things I wanted was an Austin firm that got Austin. And not Austin as in just the city, but really the vibe of this town and what we wanted to express. Because obviously we wanted to sell outside of Austin also, right? So the question was, how do we match up with a group of people that understand the vibe of Austin, that isn't going to pigeonhole us in the city? And me and the Butler brothers, they're two brothers, and they're born and raised, big family, second generation Austin.
We're the first
born here. So they're born and raised in the city, and who else would understand it better than them? So once we settled on them, kind of started that process. And during that process, when we finalized some of the packaging, is when I met Chris. And I brought Chris in to do some consulting. I've known Chris for years in the business here in Austin, and brought him to do some consulting. He saw the packaging, called me the next day, and said, Look. If you're interested, we should talk. And so I called and said, hey, let's work this out. Let's make this happen. Of course. I would love to have someone with your experience on board. I joke all the time. I know my brand. He knows the business. So somebody with 25 years experience, gosh, I got 4. So on board like that, and his office next door to mine over here, that I can say, hey, what have I been doing wrong? What can I do better? It's good to pick his brain on it. No one knows the brand better than me, but he does know the business a lot better from his experience. So he was key to have on board. And we say under the negative, right? So we had good juice. Now I think we have the packaging to match. Chris on board, and also myself. I think we've got kind of key players to take this to the next level. So design wise. Yeah, that's Marty.
So my brother and I have a brand studio. We operate out of East Austin. My brother lives in South Austin. I live in North Central. We have a staff that's mixed all throughout the city. We have a staff of designers and writers, account service people, and strategy people. A lot of really smart people, right?
Amazing.
That are nice people. That are kind. That love to collaborate. We built our studio around the principle collaboration. Everyone has to do that to a certain degree in our business, but we've really embraced it wholeheartedly to the extent that you may have heard a buzzword called design thinking, and we use design thinking to get through a process with our clients, and it involves us all locking ourselves in a room without cell phones for 2 days, and
kind of like Saturday Night Live, huh?
There's a little bit of a skit mentality to it. There's a lot of work that goes into the day. But we're not just brainstorming. We're doing a lot of work to open each other up, share stories, and think about how we might create something unique together. Because what Scott just said about his marketing person is true for us as well. I had never branded a spirit before. I had certainly never branded a tequila before. I've consumed tequila for my whole life, but I was the first one to admit that I was a novice when it came to tequila. And who am I to say this is going to work for tequila? So to speed up the process for our company, we really rely on expertise from our clients, and we give them a big hug and we say, teach us quickly, because we want to get past mistakes. So that's really the process that we went through. And the loveliest part of the process was, at the end of the day, we always have drinks and dinner after we've done a big design thinking exercise. It's kind of exhausting. We've all been working all day. We're sitting there each holding a glass of tequila at a little place in East Austin off E6. And Scott looks over at me and he says, "Hey, I'm going to Jalisco on Monday." And this was Thursday, I believe. Mm-hmm. He said, "I'll buy you a ticket if you want to go." And we're off to the side. And I said,
and you said,
"All right."
I said, "Yeah."
Well, first you texted wife.
Yeah, I did text my wife. It's okay. We're both happy.
Hey, hon, I won't be home.
Well, to your point, Mike, earlier about the city, about tequila. I mean, I've been several times, and I fell in love years ago with it. So it's a magical place. But I took Marty down, and he fell in love and was taking pictures, and that was a lot of that final product on the label here came from his experience in the city, and him just really falling in love with what we saw there, and the idea that it's got the spirit of Austin in a way where it's laid back, it's flip flops and shorts, and it's cool, and it's fun, even more so really than Austin. And that was kind of the connection. The MEX to ATX, that's kind of where that came from. That really the two cities more than just the tequila comes from there.
We have the box. And I really this is how my first añejo sample showed up, and I was really just impressed. You may have seen the picture that Rick, who's my brother-in-law, took. Yeah. And it's almost like it photographs so beautifully that photo now has become rather iconic, because it really lends itself to creativity, even from an amateur standpoint as far as photography or graphics. And it says a lot too. I mean, you've got the symbols, you've got agave, you have I'm assuming this is like a pyramid or a volcano, right?
It's a volcano, yeah. That's a tequila volcano.
This would be the drops of tequila coming out of the still, maybe?
Those stand for triple distillation. But absolutely, triple distilling is actually something that inspired that.
Okay, and then we're looking. What am I looking at here? This upside down triangle.
Filtration.
That's filtration. Okay.
Yeah.
The bubbles would be the finished product, correct?
Oxygenation.
Look at that.
That's our process and symbols.
I love that. I love that. I don't know if anyone's asked you. I mean, they're very attractive, but I was really curious because I know the first two, but the other three, and I've been to Cofradia. I've known them for a long time, actually, Carlos and Pepe Hermosillo. And, yeah. But I wondered about the rest of these, because it seems to be the more remarkable, the more, I guess the word I'm looking for is that when the bottle jumps out at you on the shelf, and obviously you're gonna be competing with a lot of other brands out there, something has to pop out at you. And lately it seems to be a trend in I guess in branding spirits in general, is that there's a lot of symbolism involved. Yeah. And so I was wondering, what the rest of these were. So your process then, Scott, you're obviously it's triple distilled, and as far as I'm concerned, La Cofradia, they invented triple distillation when everybody else said it couldn't be done.
Is that
or
right?
Wasn't really done.
Yeah, I mean, they do it in a way that still retains so much flavor. You know, I mean, you talk to some real kind of real tequila people, like such as yourself, probably years ago, that would have said, "Oh, triple distilled, it's too much, it's too far." But then you taste it, and you say, "Okay, there's a lot of flavor there. This doesn't take away from the flavor." You know, so that was the key for me.
I have, like I say, I've had several tequilas from this distillery, and they, as far as I'm concerned, and many of us who travel in these tequila circles, we believe that La Cofradía invented triple distillation. But there are other brands that they have produced that have quadruple distillation, and they have a quintuple distillation, which I think they went too far on that one. But the quadruple, the 4 times distilled was actually quite good, and I was surprised. And I said, you know, if they invented triple distillation, then they obviously know how far they can go with this before it starts to look like and taste like vodka or like tea.
Yeah, Luis is amazing. Luis does an amazing job running the stills there. And I tried the 5 times distilled, by the way.
Did you? What did you think?
Yeah. I think exactly what you thought.
Yeah, it's it's sad too, because the brand owner of the one that I'm thinking of should have stuck to cars, as far as I'm concerned. But you know, that's neither here nor there. You got to try something. Look at that. I still can't get over how beautiful this label is. So tell me, Marty, what inspired you? And I got to tell you, I lived in New Mexico for.
Yeah, I love that comment about the flag. Yeah,
it's the New Mexico flag. A lot of people don't even know what the symbolism is. That the symbolism of the flag in New Mexico, it was actually a sacred symbol. It was never meant to be seen in public, but it was, I guess, what do they call it? The state pulled the public domain thing on it, and so they use it as the state flag. But it's very similar. I love how did you guys select the color and the motif and all that stuff? How did you? I mean, I'd love to have seen the progression.
Yeah. Well, we have a team of designers that worked on it, certainly, but during the Blitz, we really started to look at some graphic inspiration for what might drive the look of the brand. We weren't certain. We had to go through an exploration, but Austin is full of hand-painted signage. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of sign painters here. There's one guy in particular named Joe Sweck who actually did a bunch of painting here at the studio and at our offices as well. But he's a classic old-school sign painter. So he comes out with his box of brushes and he replicates whatever design you have. He's an extremely talented guy. Putting paint on a wall is a really affordable way to advertise your business, your restaurant, if you're a podiatrist, if you're an herbalist. And we knew that we loved that style, but when I got off a plane with Scott and I drove into the town and we started to walk around, I mean, I have 1,000 photographs there. And it was just like, wow, of course they use that same sign painting method in Mexico, and especially in a small town, because it's affordable, it's really graphic, it's really attractive. There's a ton of attractive sign painting. So that really inspired the style that's on the package. I mean, we tried to do something that you could paint right onto a wall, and it would look just like a mural you see on any business. A guy named Jacob Carter, who's one of our design leads. He's responsible for actually bringing this to life fully. I'm a guy that has we'll put an idea into a room. Scott the same way. We have a lot of When we landed on yellow, that's an interesting story as well. You can start that.
Yeah, yellow. So it was exhaustive to say the least. The process. When I did my first label, which you showed the sticker of earlier, was hiring a design guy to draw something. Right. That was designed years and years before I even had product in, really. And then we finally got the product in, and by the time it showed up, I was already ready to change it, to be honest with you. But there was no money to do it the right way. So when we finally got to the point to work with Brother Brothers, he talked about this first meeting we had, which is, they call it Blitz. And it was intense. It was, I don't know, 5 hours in a room with my team and their team, doing everything but talking colors and design. You know, talk about your experience in tequila. Talk about how you want people to feel about your brand. I mean, really, like he said, really opening up and really getting to the meat of it. So we go through a series of designs and bottles and labels and all these things, and finally they pull this yellow one on the screen. And my wife and I were
not enough in the design.
In the design process later, months later. Took a long time to get to this point. We saw the yellow, and we were like, wow, that's it. The yellow, that's it. That stripe, that is striking. It represents these bright colors of tequila, but it's not too old school, because the big thing we talked about a lot was, let's don't do what everyone's doing. Let's don't show me in a field trimming agave, because I don't do that. Let's do trans, right?
It's the same thing. I tell people I don't do yard work. Yeah.
I'm not acting like I'm in the fields. I don't produce the tequila. Luis Trejo produces the tequila. Okay, now I tasted it, and the flavor profile is definitely one that I came up with along with Luis. So it is my brand, but we try to be transparent as possible. And so in line with that, the label needed to match that. So we said, let's don't do an agave in a traditional sense, a picture of an agave on the label. We did this agave candle, which I think is a unique take on it. We don't show humidors on the website for a reason. So we saw the yellow, and it was so striking. It was new, but kind of a nod to the old school, and it was really amazing look. And then we said, what are we going to do with the Reposado and potentially the Añejo? So we decided we would do a different color for each one. So we tried a different color stripe, and we went through
20
colors, blue stripe, and green stripe, and everything you can imagine. And finally, I went in one day, and they said, we got one last idea we want to show you. And all three representations had a yellow stripe, and they just changed one little part for the representation. And I said, that's it. We did it. We nailed it. That's it. So that's why they're all yellow. Let's just run with it. Let's own it. Let's own this yellow. That's our packaging. That's our logo. So we really just ran with it. And then the little things like the 512 that's embossed on the cork itself. If you look at the cork, there's a 512 embossed on it. The wooden tops, the little things they came up with. Yeah. Well, no, it's actually on the cork itself. There's a 512 on the cork if you go around the cork.
I know that I'm looking at, even inside there's no, there it is. There's no, even though it looks like there's empty space in the box, it really isn't. Even the flap has it's a 512 cork, isn't it? Isn't that what that is?
Yeah, that's one of the marks that they came up with that we can use different ways. There's a whole package of word marks and ideas and design things that they handed off to me once the process was done. This is one of the first ways that they chose to use it was on this box.
I think I want a cap with that on it. I think tell me you got it already. I'm sure there's another brand that's pretty well respected. A couple of really neat guys who have that out, and their award-winning brand as well. And their bottle is full of icons, and there are people who are you finding that your fans are starting to tattoo themselves with this stuff? Because these guys...
I thought of doing it on my own body.
What's that?
I thought about doing it on my own body, but I haven't had any fans suggest it yet. So
these guys have fans who are doing the whole, because inside the main logo of this particular brand, all the symbols are in it, and so they're either and they're pulling those symbols out for their extra añejo, and which is kind of a sharp way of doing it. But
this would be cool nail art.
Yeah, it'd be great nail art or tattoos or I just think that there's endless ways you can use all those icons because it really right there you go repurposing. I love it. Repurpose it.
Yeah.
I can tell you from experience, just because of the tequilas and mezcals that we have right here in the house, that this 512 just jumps out at you, and there's no. Yeah, the hardest thing for us to do was when we did the packaging. I thought the tasting part of the Brands of Promise was tough, but the packaging was really interesting too. Because they're all over the place.
I love the upcycling.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, we spent a lot of time in the aisle, and we would go to Specs or Total Wine and just stand there for hours in between while we're designing and while we're iterating. And, you start to see the pattern of earth tones. You start to see the pattern of blues. There's a ton of blue in tequila, which makes sense with a blue agave. You look for a visual niche to just jump out in some cases, just to stand out enough to turn someone's head. If someone's willing to reach out and touch something and actually pick it up, the chances of them walking out of the store with it, as you guys know, they skyrocket. So without being gimmicky or ridiculous, and that's the balance that we were trying to strike, because at some point you can become garish, or you can become trite, and you try too hard, and Scott makes a high-quality product. And if the juice wasn't any good, it wouldn't work anyway. So I think we struck that balance, but I think that's what you guys are talking about. Speaking of juice, in the Blitz, Dwayne, who is a sales guy for Tequila 512 and a bartender, kept referring to good juice, and I think I had heard that with wine, but not with tequila. And he was a bartender in his former life.
Yeah, he was a mixologist. So he was. We all kept saying in the business you say business juice or juice or whatever. So he would say. Well, the issue that my bartender friends have is packaging they don't like, but it's definitely good juice in the bottle. And so they latched onto that and said, "What is that phrase you guys use?" Said, in the industry, we use that a lot to reference spirits in general. And they said, "That's going to go in the bottle. We're going to help juice. Talk about it. We put it on there. Put quotes. It's kind of a funny, like a fun thing, you know. So,
but that's a T-shirt. It's a bumper sticker. It's on Scott's truck. It's good juice. It's an education in what tequila is for the average consumer. It's fun to say. It's simple. There's no Spanish on the bottle. That was another choice we made. Instead of saying Hecho y Limpio, which Scott and I were in Mexico together. I took 4 years of French like an idiot in Texas high school. I don't know why. So our app open.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking, man. My mom was from the Northeast, and she took French, and she didn't tell me to do it, but she turned me on to it. And I thought maybe I'll go to France someday. I still haven't been. I have been to Belgium, Canada. But Scott and I are just falling over.
By the way, Lisa's from Maine, and her family, they're Canadian. They're Canucks.
Yeah. My wife's family's from Maine also. We go up there every summer.
Yeah,
Farmington.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Where in Maine?
Farmington?
Oh, no kidding.
Fly to Portland and go to Farmington.
Right. Yeah, it's still a long drive to Farmington, though.
It is. It's inland, but her family still lives there. We still go every year to summer.
Still make that stop in New Hampshire?
We've done that a couple times. I mean, they usually what I usually do is I'll mail up a case of bottles.
Oh, there you go. Hey, down.
I had to explain to him. Yeah, I had to explain to him what it's like to go to Maine. You know, if you're going up there on vacation, you fly into Boston, and then you drive to Maine so that you can stop at the New Hampshire liquor store, because there's no good liquor in Maine.
Oh no, there is. So we used to do that. I have 4 kids now. When we used to do that before we had 4 kids, go to Boston and drive over. Portland is just a little quicker of a drive. I mean, very little, but a little bit quicker. So now we go to Portland and fly in, but I'll mail bottles up. And usually when I get there, there's 3 or 4 gone. When I show up, they've already drank through. I tell them they need one bottle for the week. I'll be okay.
Wow. Yeah, you know what I tell you what, the simplicity of the graphics and even in the box. And a lot of people don't see the boxes because I from years of talking with importers and brand owners that have spent a lot of money on their packaging, mainly. And when we talk about packaging, and in those days when we first started, we talked about the boxes, you know, the embossed. They were shiny, you know, and expensive. And now when we talk about packaging, so we rarely see boxes anymore. And I don't know. I don't even go to liquor stores very often, but I'm not sure if people are even aware that your tequila comes in a box. But the box is very attractive, and as opposed to the old boxes of anything, you know, just for lack of another brand, a box everybody's seen is Patron, you know, and it comes in 3 bright, loud colors. But it's heavy paper, it's loud, it's glossy. But yours is.
But see, this is so Texas. This is so Austin. I mean, this is.
But this is what I like.
It isn't
in
its simplicity.
Right,